Well, I just seen that Breakfast Club. Now today's gonna be a little bit of a different video. It's gonna be me talking about, I guess, like the Breakfast Club and things that I guess transpire with 50 Cent on there. Now, I don't like Charlemagne the God. I think that man is the most. He's garbage in my opinion. That nigga is garbage. He's dog trash. He's filth. I don't like Charlemagne the God. Frankly, I don't even like the Breakfast Club in general. I used to, but it was just after I learned some things about the show and the people that's on it. I mean, that's like a cringe show to even watch in the morning. I used to like watching Sway in the morning. I think Sway is a better morning show than the Breakfast Club. It's just but 50 Cent brought up some interesting things about, I guess, like Omari Hardwick, and I guess about how he undervalues himself. And I guess he was explaining about, I guess, like the whole money situation. And even he talked about Rotimi, about the whole, I guess, the $300,000, which we, at the time, we was all, I mean, if we didn't know about it, or those who didn't know about it, it was just like, oh, I guess like 50 Cent owed Rotimi some money. But then it was like, it wasn't like that. It was something different from what he was explaining. I guess it was like a project that he was working on. And I guess 50 Cent wasn't too sure about, I guess, the venues that Rotimi was going on. So he was like, I don't know. So he was like, well, you can pay me back through to the royalties. He was like, and we'll be good there. But then I guess when he made, I guess, either an album or a song, and I guess the song, I guess, was either in the middle or it was doing okay numbers. But then I guess he tricked them in a sense, like, well, I'm gonna start some fake beef with you, I guess. And then I guess, and it made us believe like, oh, Rotimi and him, there was some money he owed him or whatever. And I guess he says that his track, I guess, reached number 1, but he told him, I guess, in confidence that, well, this is how, you have to create some buzz around, I guess, your music or whatever that he was working on at the time to, like, I guess, spike ratings. So, and I guess spiking views on his music. So I guess ultimately he was number 1 in the charts for a little while, and I guess that's what 50 Cent was ultimately going towards, because he was just like, if there's no controversy or any heat around your album, then it's not going to reach number 1. And he had a fair point on that, because when, like, this past summer, when you had Drake and you had Kendrick Lamar, and they went at it with each other, like Drake had his 3 diss songs, and then Kendrick he just destroyed Drake. Now I don't know if some of y'all probably are like Drake fans or whatever, but it was like a crazy time for the summer. And I told everybody that basically this year is the year of Kendrick. Like, he just destroyed Drake. But it's like both of those men had heat around their tracks, because they both was dissing each other, and it was so much heat that it was like, oh my god, who's gonna win? And ultimately Kendrick won, because it was so much drama. You had people choosing sides, you had people breaking up with each other, because it was just, you a Drake fan, I can't be with you anymore, baby, I gotta go. Ooh, you like Kendrick Lamar, nah man, I hate family, and he's a family man, now I gotta cheat on you. Like, it was crazy for this summer. But ultimately it was regarding, I guess, like the heat around each other's tracks. But going back to, I guess, when he was talking about like Omari Hardwick and the whole them, like him undervaluing himself, and he's not even talking about like the projects, his future projects, and everybody was just like, future projects, and then he was just like, exactly, like he's not talking about it. And I was like, all right, hold on, let me see what 50 Cent talking about. So I looked it up, and I was like, wait a minute, Omari Hardwick is going to be in 2025, I think it's this Star Trek Selection 31. And I was like, now granted, I haven't seen any recent Omari Hardwick like interviews, because I know he did one with Fat Joe. And I was like, okay, but I didn't really like, if there was anything like past or after the Fat Joe interview, it was, I don't know what else he was like really talking about besides, the same old questions that people really asked him about, is like really power. And it's like, oh, like, how did you feel about the ending, this and that or whatever. And I think I remember seeing maybe like one clip of him saying that, I think he said he didn't really have beef with like 50, and then he was explaining, I think, also too about, I guess, his show, or the show that he was on, I guess, create like multiple other shows and other like spin-offs or whatever. He got like a lot of people jobs and stuff. That's what he was claiming, I think, in one of the videos that I saw him explaining this on. You know, y'all can go check that out for yourselves to verify, but I believe that was like one of the things that he was really talking about. And I'm like, you have to like really think about like this, like with everything that 50 was talking about in the interview, because he also said too, like, you know, he's bringing up people because he felt like 50 feels like he's taking like direct shots at him, because he's talking about like 50 and Courtney Kip, and he says like nobody really knows Courtney Kip. He was just like, he has to introduce, you know, Courtney Kip to people because nobody know who she is. And I'm like, you know, you do sort of have a point. 50 has a point on that, because it's like, you know, besides like the Power fans, right? Who else knows Courtney Kip outside of Power? That's a good. It's like, I get what 50 Cent is talking about there, where it's like, you know, he feels like he's taking shots at him, right? And, you know, he felt like if he just said what he wanted to say about money, you know, everything could have got squashed or whatever. But I mean, you gotta look at it like this, where if you are the face, if you're literally like the face of Power, right? The original Power, right? And you making like, you know, good money or whatever. I don't know. Maybe in Omari Hardwick's defense, maybe he probably wanted more. Maybe he felt like, you know, like, okay, like Power he is on his shoulders. You know, he's the front and center of it all. It's like Ghost, James St. Patrick, like it's on his shoulders. So he probably felt that, well, hey man, I'm flagship show. He's sort of carrying things. Hey, maybe, you know, pay me a little bit more. You know, pay me just a little bit more. Now, I also understand too what 50 Cent was saying, that, you know, it's not really just him. It's literally everybody, and everybody makes it, which is true, because you have your co-stars. You know, you have everybody that's working together to make the show good, and it's not just one person, right? But here's the thing where I can sort of disagree with 50 Cent on. When everybody watched like Pop Up 2 Ghost, right? And it was like, okay, everything that happened with Ghost, and he was the only one that didn't get like the cross and the coffin, all that stuff, right? So it was making people speculate, okay, is this man potentially coming back? That's where everybody was thinking. It was just like, oh, there's a possibility that, you know, James St. Patrick, he can return. But it never really happened. And even towards the ending of Power Book 2 Ghost, it never happened. We never got to see him return. We never got to see any of that. Now, there was other interviews that Omari Hardwick was in, and he did claim that they did wanted to bring him back for something. But then when he said, hey, you know, pay me a little bit more, he said they didn't reach back to him. They didn't say anything about that. So I'm like, we don't know what's true and what's not true. Like, we don't know if this like stuff that's being communicated that's not getting back to 50, or we don't know if 50 Cent is ignoring. We don't know. We just hearing like two sides. We hearing Omari Hardwick's side, and then we hearing 50 Cent's side about him explaining, I guess, about, you know, what's been going on. But I like, okay, I give you an example. So I think this was Eva in, I think, the second movie of The Purge, and I think it was this black guy. He was, I guess they kept using his face, making it seem like he was, you know, the star of it all. Like he was a star, and they was promoting his face everywhere. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah. And I think when they interviewed him, he said they only gave him $1,000. Now, I don't know if this was true, if the $1,000 part, you know, him claiming they only gave him $1,000, or he just said that to, I don't know, to, you know, he was just saying it just to be saying it, right? But if it was true that they only gave him $1,000, right, then it's sort of fucked up, because, you know, he was the face, even though he only had like a little part in the movie, but he still was the face, right? But, you know, like I said, I can understand like two sides of the story, right? Because I won't like immediately just jump over, oh yeah, 50 Cent right, screw Omari Hardwick, when everybody in the fans was clamoring for Omari Hardwick to come back as Ghost since Power Book 2 Ghost, right? Everybody been wanting and clamoring for it. Now I understand it's a couple of YouTubers out there and a couple of videos out there that's maybe claiming he might return in Power Book 4 Force and helping out Tommy, right? I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm like, I don't know, because we could all, as I said before, we can all be, it could be a ruse, right? Like 50 Cent could be playing everybody. He'd be playing like 3D chess and, it could possibly happen. But the way how we seeing it and how they having like all these interviews, it's like, I don't know. At this point, it's like, I don't think it's going to probably happen. And I would probably say I could probably maybe agree with 50 Cent on one thing, that if Omari Hardwick didn't bring up like any other future projects, then you would probably be like, maybe 50 Cent has somewhat of a point there, because it's like, I never knew he was going to be in Star Trek. I mean, let me know in the comment section down below, did y'all heard anything about this man mentioning him, like any future projects he was working on? Because I didn't hear anything. And granted, I haven't, was researching or watching any of his recent interviews of him actually mentioning anything about future stuff that he was, getting into. But, maybe 50 Cent has like one point about that. Maybe he undervalues himself. But the one thing I can say is that, you can't really deny the fans of what they really wanted, though, because they wanted him to return in even Power Book 2 Ghost. But I highly doubt he's going to probably show up in Force. I highly doubt that. Even though, yeah, everybody would like that. Like, oh, he shows up in Force to save Tommy, right? Big pop, big ratings, big pop, right? But I'm like, I don't see that. I highly doubt it, and I don't think that's going to probably happen, despite, fans really clamoring for it. And it's like, that's the one thing that 50 Cent probably doesn't understand is, the fans, like, this is what they really want. But I understand you can't really give everybody what they want, but still, it's just like, even at the Power Awards, I think Fan Choice Awards or whatever, where everybody from Rotimi to the guy who plays Joe Proctor, Sax, like, everybody got awards, shout outs, this and that. But the one person that never got shouted out or any sort of reward was Omari Hardwick. Even when Michael Rainey Jr. and his friend, when they had the whole podcast together, everybody was literally on it. I think almost everybody was on that podcast except for the man. You had Joseph Shakur in there. You had the actor who plays as Lobo. Like, you had Courtney Kip on there. The one person you didn't really have that everybody would have been really interested to see on the interview was Omari Hardwick. It was like they just scrubbed the man. It was almost like they were just scrubbing the man from existence. Like, he wasn't really part of anything. He wasn't the face of anything, right? And that's what it really seemed like, that to the fans, where we just like, yo, how come this man isn't getting acknowledged like that? Like, it just feels a little scummy, like they just like, all right, move this man over to the side and here's all these spinoffs. And we like, okay, like, despite Power Book 2 Ghost, but okay, Raising Kanan, sure, right? And then we get Power Origins, but it just seemed a little scummy where you just, all right, we're going to exit him out the way. He's no longer important anymore. Pay attention to these other new shows, which I understand, because you want to have more promotion. You want to have more people talking about the new shows, but it's sort of kind of wrong if you're just going to, all right, he's finished and he's over. We're going to move on from that. And it's like, nah, it's messed up, because I give you another example. When you look at the MCU, when everybody was clamoring over Tobey Maguire to return as Spider-Man, and everybody in their mama was like, yo, where Tobey at? Yo, stop playing. Yo, where Tobey at? Because it was like, okay, you had Tom Holland. When Tom Holland, everybody was like, till this day, he's like an Spider-Man, right? And then you had, what's his face? Andrew. He was the pretty boy. He was the pretty boy Spider-Man, but nobody was really, they was okay with him, but he was just a pretty boy. But Tobey was perfect. And then when we got the movie, everybody was satisfied. Everybody was like, all right, we good, we happy, we satisfied, we, everything worked out. That's what it really was. That's what it really was. But again, we got this stuff that's happening between 50 Cent and Omari Hardwick. And again, we don't know if 50 Cent playing 3D chess on us, or this is really what's happening right now, and Omari Hardwick is never returning. But like I said, I can probably maybe agree with 50 Cent on that. Maybe Omari Hardwick is undervaluing himself a little bit if he's not talking about other future projects that he's working on, right? And I get it, because power, us fans, we still like the man, we still champion for him. But it's just like, again, like, if he ain't talking about other stuff, it sort of hurts him a little bit, because it's like, I mean, actually no, there was one interview I remember him. He did say that, yeah, he did make the character, but you also got to support the man. He did say that. He did say that too. So I'm like I said, I can understand two sides of the story. I can understand like two sides of the story, or where both sides is like really coming from. On if he maybe felt he didn't get the recognition and the money that he deserved, but then maybe 50 Cent on the other hand is like, well, I paid you, you got your money, right? And then that's it. Like, we told your story, and then that's it. But caveat here, you're gonna get Power Origins to go further beyond, to further explain about the ghost story and when he was younger, but you ain't gonna be in it though. But there's that for the fans. I get it, but it's just, hey. But let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of 50 Cent and Omari Hardwick. And like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll catch you all in the next one.